Here's a story. One man named Brady. Guess we're waiting for everything to connect up. Something. It's one of the issues always with streaming through StreamYard is they connect up, but when does YouTube connect? Good morning, Alicat. How are you? I hope you had a wonderful week. Thumbs up for Alicat. Easily distracted. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful week. Gonna wait for some more people to get in here. Then I got kind of a little announcement for everybody. I got this song in my head right now. I just can't get rid of it. I think it's like big band music, I guess you call it. I think it's Tony Dorsey. I'm not entirely sure. Good morning, Seeds of Hope. They just closed Chad Daybell's hearing for closed it for August 30th. Good morning, Gayla. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful week. They closed it. Well, I mean, he signed as soon as he signed that waiver to for not to have a speedy trial. We have no idea when anything's going to happen when it comes to Chad Daybell. It could be 6 months, 12 months, 2 years from now before that actually goes to trial. Good morning, Zelda. Howdy from over on the edges of boring Oregon. I had an interesting conversation last night with my mother-in-law, Zelda, about the Seventh-day Adventist Church and LDS church. My mother-in-law has on and off again studied different religions and participated in different religious factions. But she's always more closely aligned with the Seventh-day Adventist. She's never been like a full member or anything. But good morning, Colleen, Mike, Kandakara, Lean, or Gone. Raven Spirit, good morning. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you could be here today. I hope you all had a good weekend. Georgia Ritchie, good morning. Hit that thumbs up. All right, everyone. So enough people here now. I have a little announcement for everybody first. So over the past 2 months, me and my wife and my daughter, the three of us have sat down, and we've been kind of going through my YouTube, this entire channel to see what's been working, what hasn't been working, and what feedback I'm getting, what interaction I'm getting from actual viewers. Now, certain times of the day when I upload, obviously, wasn't working for some people when they're online the most. And when it comes to this Saturday morning stream and the Sunday true crime trivia, We looked at the time schedules for everything. Now this Saturday morning stream is going to stay the same time, but there's going to be a change to it. And you may have noticed that today there's a new thumbnail that you've never seen before for this actual stream. So what this Saturday morning stream is going to be from here on out is the first part of it, 10 minutes or so of the actual stream every Saturday morning. I'm going to read off the news or updates on actual cases that I have covered over the previous month, 30-day period. And that we had to do it in a cutoff. So it's from this date going back 30 days. If it was 31 days or 34 days, I'm not going to cover it in an update. But every Saturday morning, the first 10 minutes is just going to be me doing updates. And then we can get into discussion about that or anything else, just like every other Saturday. I'm seeing you, Seeds of Hope. Glad I had a minute to come in and say hello. I'm glad you could be here too, Seeds of Hope. Charlene Sullivan, good morning. Welcome to the stream. So, with what I just said about reading, doing the news and updates, I wanted to give you 4 updates on cases that are coming up or I've reported on in the last 30 days. So next Saturday, I'm not going to actually do this intro like I'm doing now, explain it to you. It's good. The stream's going to start. And then for the first 10 minutes or so, all I'm going to do is just talk about the news. I will have the actual chat off. So I won't be able to actually, read your comments or anything else. I hope to be able to still greet everybody, but we have to make this more viable for everybody and more interaction and give people an actual value proposition is what they call it. So, all right. First one, Christian Rivera, the murderer of Molly Tibbetts, will be sentenced on August 30th for the murder of Molly Tibbetts from Brooklyn, Ohio. His attempt to actually move the court and make them believe that there was somebody else involved didn't work. But they've made it very clear to him, if he wishes to, after he's been sentenced and he goes away to, the state prison there for an awfully long time, most likely for the rest of his life, depending upon how many years he gets, or if he gets the death penalty or whatever. That's going to be decided on the August 30th. But at that point, once he goes to prison, he can bring up any additional information or cases or people that he says that did it. He can bring them up on appeal as one of his appeals. So that's where the Christian Bahina Rivera in the Molly Tibbetts case is. All right. So next one, William Lewis Reece, the serial killer that I covered yesterday. I did a premiere on the video on it. And immediately after I got done, YouTube flagged it. So it wasn't being shown to people who share their accounts with anyone under the age of 18. So if you go back to my actual video list, it's there. They dropped the actual flag from it this morning. So it's still there. It didn't go anywhere. But William Lewis Reece, the state of Texas has confirmed again that he will not be extradited back to Texas and if he is extradited back to Texas, they will not seek the death penalty for him. In Oklahoma, if he gets the death penalty there and he gets that sentence there, they most likely will not extradite him back to stand trial for the other 3 murders in the state of Texas. William Lewis Reece is refusing to speak to authorities anymore. And again, to reiterate, in case you've missed the video, during those interviews that he did and confessions with the state of Texas, the Texas Ranger, and a detective from the Oklahoma State Patrol. He was trying. He confessed to those things because he wanted them to take the death penalty off the table. He was trying to gain leniency in his actual sentencing down the road, but he did not complete the actual agreement with the state of Oklahoma. He refused to admit to his crimes. He basically, just deadpanned or smiling the entire time when they read the sentence off the other day. But the state of Texas, if he doesn't get the death penalty in Oklahoma again, they will not extradite him back to Texas to stand trial for the murder of the other 3 young ladies. And nor will they seek the death penalty if they do seek, bring him back they extradite him back for and prosecute him for the other 3 cases. Okay. And next one, number 3 on the list, is to make a clarification in the video that I did. It was titled "To Live and Die in New York" about Patricia Barker. I actually spoke to her nephew, and he wanted to make sure that I reiterated, and he thought that I didn't do a good enough job explaining to everyone about Patricia Barker. I explained a lot more about her roommates and them, hiding her body in the house so they could have barbecues and gatherings, and they could clean the house of any drug paraphernalia that was laying around. He wanted me to make sure that I reiterated and made it clear that even though Patricia did die of an overdose, that was what it was actually ruled, was she died of an overdose. But she did have a long history of drug abuse and substance abuse issues. But she had a heart of gold, and during her lifetime, she had taken in a lot of stray animals, dogs, cats, and such, and had either nursed them back to health and adopted them out. But she always, even when she had nothing, and even in the height of her addiction, she was still willing to help other animals and stuff like that. And he wanted to make sure that everybody understood that she was a great person. She just couldn't get away from the evils of her addiction. All right. And the 4th and final one is on Michael Joseph Vaughn, the little boy who is missing from the Treasure Valley area in Idaho. AKA his nickname is Monkey. They have not given up hope on finding Michael Joseph Vaughn alive at this point. He is still considered missing and in danger. That's how they listed on the actual missing poster on the state website, is missing danger /danger. But they are continuing the searches. They are not in a recovery for a body mode, unlike some other fellow YouTubers who have explained that or hypothesized that they're looking for a body at this point. They don't know if somebody took him or if he walked away. Again, in that video, I didn't express enough that there were no tracks found or bent down tall grass showing that he left out the back part of the house. He had to leave going out the front, and then there's a large road, and then there's a frontage road that runs in front of the house. He had to have gone that direction regardless. And the woods are that way, and the river is the opposite direction, the Snake River. But they've searched everything around there, but there's no signs that he actually walked away on his own anywhere at all. Behind the house, side of the house, left or right, or out front. And he wasn't big enough to actually be able to unlatch the gate to get out by himself. He could have, gotten out from underneath, I guess, the chain link fence that is in the back part of the property, but we're just spitballing there. We don't really know what happened. So that is the 4 things that there'll be 4 or 5 every week that I will read off. That is news from cases, that updates that I've either covered or cases that I'm going to be covering one way or another. And so I'm going to do that the first, part of each and every Saturday morning, live stream. And now open to the chat. Amazing facts. It's on. Where did I leave off at? Okay. Seeds of Hope. I read that one. Raven Spirit. Awesome. Thank you, Connie Kelly. Zelda. All the scripture is very clear about what happens when you die. You have no thoughts. Don't praise or have emotions. We're asleep until Jesus returns, and we'll be raised to meet Him. Like Steven, Zelda, as long as I get to be with my mom. I'm 100% positive, Mike, you will. Charlene Sullivan, watch Amazing Facts. It's awesome. I've never heard of Amazing Facts. Kubi, I think that's how you pronounce it. Welcome, and I'm glad you could be here today. I hope you had a wonderful week. Karen Gillette, hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy Saturday. Well, welcome, Karen. I'm glad you could be here today. And you as well. I hope you had a wonderful week. If you haven't actually been dead for 5 minutes, how can you advise others what is the truth? That's a good point, Raven. That's a good point. I've actually been read my final rites, but yet I'm sitting here in front of you. Good morning, Cement Shoes. I hope you had a wonderful week. Thank you for joining us today. There are many cases of people who have died and come back to reference Zelda. My spouse was on the other side for 5 minutes. Yes, he can walk and talk without your body. I don't remember anything from my experience. Wish I did. I had some seriously lucid dreams. Tell you about in a second here. But I had some very, very lucid dreams when what happened to me happened. Do you have a body, Raven? Of course, Raven has a body. Chad and numerous others clearly ignored scriptures. Chad, clearly speaking with demonic spirits, the Bible warns of speaking to the dead. Look where this led them. Well, that in Chad's he's a moron. You have to start with that, Zelda. You start with, if you don't have the average intelligence to be able to think clearly and be able to know right from wrong, if you don't have that to start off with, and then you add everything else in on top of it. Kubi, you think he was abducted? A lot of people do at this point, because there is no evidence that he walked away from the home by himself. Good morning, Interpeas. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful week. Glad you could join us today. I don't think he got up by himself, not at that age or size. That's the one thing that that's got to be definitely scratching that, and making the heads of the detectives and those from the Idaho State Patrol and Police Department who've been investigating. I mean, just about every law enforcement agency has been involved in Joseph Vaughn's case at this point. But if he did go out from underneath the chain link fence, why? What was out there? They never found any. They didn't find any toys, like he was in the backyard and then maybe the ball went over the fence and he went to go get it. Nothing out there at all outside of the fence perimeter of the backyard. Nothing in the front yard except for it's a very well tidy home inside and out. No history of domestic violence with the family. he doesn't have two parents who are addicted to drugs and alcohol. It's just they're just a stereotypical middle class family that something like this happens to. It just goes to show you it can happen to anybody and it can happen anywhere. I'd love revisiting the Kyron Horman case 10 years ago. Kyron Horman case. Thanks for the update. I have actually been putting a bit of work into finding little MJ. I have been distracted in other things though, and needed the reminder. Wow, thank you for helping. Faithful one, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could be here today. And there's Reichardt. Good morning, Reichardt. Meep meep. What about the psycho in Houston that set the couple of fires in their bed? Fires in the bed. Do we know a name? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that case. Meep meep. Audra, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could be here today. Hey Will, how was golf? Karen, I've played a lot better in my life. I overall there was 2 one-day tournaments, but overall I ended up finishing 4th. But I could have done a whole lot better. It's a golf course that I only get to play it once a year, and it's a lot different layout, a little more challenging than what I'm used to here. Here, where I live, there are 16 golf courses within driving distance, and none of them are like that course. So, it's one of those things where I get into a routine of how I would play things, locally where here where I play, and then I went there, and it's a completely different. The greens are fast, the roughs are deep, and it's a great course. They have 3 9-hole courses, so you play a 9 and then a 9, east, west, and south. But I've played a lot better. Thank you for asking. Welcome back. No, thank you. I've got signs from my mom in heaven, so I believe in the moment you die in heaven with your loved ones. I hope so, Mike. I hope so. One of these days, I would love to see my father again. Just to see him smile and laugh just one more time. That'd be everything to me. Amazing facts with Doug Belcher. He was really good information on the state of the dead on YouTube. What do you think about Barry and Morphew? Kevin thinks he's going to get off. Connie, I watched all 4 days of and by the way, Connie Kelly, good morning and welcome to the stream. And good morning, Kevin. I watched all 4 days of the preliminary trial for Barry. I didn't see anything that the prosecuting attorney brought up that is a smoking gun on his actual guilt. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence that they brought up that points to that Barry may have done something, but nothing that is the ha-ha moment. But you have to look at everything in how did Scott Reece put that? I always mispronounce his last name, anyways. But over on Crime Talk, the evidence has to be displayed with in the favorable light for the prosecution. So the defense had to show more than enough beyond evidence or testimony to show that he wasn't guilty. I think the defense scored some really good points on evidence that the state prosecution brought up, and they shot holes in others, and then other ones they swung and they missed. They missed bad on. But I just did not see enough evidence that says that this should be held over, and Barry should go on to stand trial for the death of Suzanne. So at this point, I'm going to have to agree with Kevin that I don't think that there's enough evidence there. But, I'm not the judge in this case. I think that if this is all the prosecution has, if they don't have a smoking gun, they better turn up a body or blood evidence or something. Having the cap to a tranquilizer dart that shows that Barry was running at 45 miles an hour and 33 miles an hour by GPS data, saying that he was chasing her around with a tranquilizer gun. Usain Bolt, the runner, the Olympian, would love to see him run 33 miles an hour or 45 miles an hour. He would love to see that, because there's no way that fat white man ran that fast. So I'm just putting that out there. The timeline for Michael isn't very clear too, but yes, I think someone snatched him. Very sad. I was actually Kubi. I was reading that there was actually across Idaho and Montana and the southern part of Oregon, there were 3 children that disappeared within a 7-day period there. 3. That's sad. And none of them have been found yet. I found some reasons to believe that to be correct. I believe he was abducted. Will, have you did you have lucid dreams when you got your scar? The one on my head? No, no. This one I did when I was 6 years old. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, when I was 6 years old, I stood on the top of a second story stairwell that went down. It went down like this, and it bottomed out, and then it went down like this. I tied a bed sheet around my neck, and I wanted to fly like Superman. So I got a running start down the hallway, and let's just say I did not, where the steps transition and then they go down and flatten out and then go down again. I didn't make it to the second section with my feet anywhere near me. I split my head open wide, and I grew up on a farm. So the only doctor around is actually a veterinarian to stitch you up if you need stitches. Otherwise, you drive all the way to the next major city, which would be the metropolitan area of Minneapolis and St. Paul. So my head got stitched up by my mother and a vet, and they used actual thread, doubled up thread from in a sewing needle. So, yeah, that's how I got the scar on my head. Kids do the damnedest things, don't they? Of course, it wasn't until afterwards that my mother told me that Superman is just something you watch on TV and it's not real. I thought Superman could fly. I wanted to be Superman. I wanted to fly like Superman. Well, ever look into the Todd Knuppel, almost as crazy as Keys? Yeah, I've looked into him some. Cement shoes, to answer your question. Not extensively, but I've definitely looked into him before. I think I may have actually done a video on him. I'm not sure. Either that or I planned it at one point. I do a lot. I shoot a lot of videos, cement shoes, that never actually make the light of day. Like this past week, I probably did 5 videos, and I launched 3 of the 5. Another one will launch directly right after this stream this morning, and it's got historical significance to it. Betty White. Good morning, Betty White. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could be here today. How are you doing? Oh, thank you, Inner Peace. I appreciate that. Inner Peace says, I look good today. I feel good. I got up at 4 this morning, made breakfast for myself and for my mother, who's staying with us for another week. And then took my shower, made my coffee this morning. Can't go wrong when you start off the day the right way. Betty White, can I get an autograph? Get off music, 22 positions in one night stand. I think there will be a trial for Barry. All roads lead back to him. I just want to know where Suzanne is. If he's guilty, just tell us where Suzanne is. Heartbreaking but true. I'm a little worried, to say the least, with almost the amount of time and effort that I've put into finding Suzanne over the last year and a half. Yeah. I hope so too. I really do. I really hope that the prosecution's got some kind of smoking gun on this, a witness, some kind of evidence, blood evidence, something, a GPS record they're not telling us about, something. And I pray too, Connie Kelly. Those pesky laws of physics, right? Yeah, but I did it. I split my head open good, cement shoes. I did it. I remember I have a vivid picture of not of them sewing up my head, but the blood that was everywhere. It looked like somebody was murdered on the stairwell. I mean, it bled and it bled good. You didn't have doctors either, Betty White? Super Will. Yep. Spaghetti Nomina. Good morning, sweetheart. How are you doing? Glad you could be here today. I went to Minneapolis to visit my daughter last weekend. Yeah, I'm from that area, but I'm not sure if I want to visit Minneapolis. When I was in high school, Spaghetti Nona, I went to high school in St. Louis Park, which is a suburb of Minneapolis. I also went to North End High School, which is let's just say it's not a really good high school, but that's in St. Paul. Well, we traveled a lot. We were here in one location for a year, and then we were gone for back there for a year, and we went back and we ping ponged back and forth between Washington State and Minnesota and Wisconsin. We ping 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 ping, pretty much since elementary school. I got really lucky in that growing up, I had two really good friends. My friend Melissa and my friend Brett. Even though I ping ponged across the United States just about every year, growing up, I always remained friends with them. So that was always a good thing. We're all still friends today, even in our 50s. Now that all of our children have grown and are driving and all those milestones that you never look forward to as a parent. And then me, lonely me. You know, mine and my wife's daughter is 24, and we have a 5-year-old. So we decided that, well, God gave us way more than we need, and that we have more than enough love in our heart to, to raise another child. So we had another child. Good morning, Francie. Hi. What did you and your mom have for breakfast, Francie? I made bacon, toast, scrambled eggs for her. I had bratwurst because I love bratwurst. Like Hillshire Farms bratwurst. They make a garlic one. It's really good. And I had toast and black coffee, dry toast. I hate toast with butter or anything on it. Dry. That's what she wanted. I offered her, to make her waffles or something else, but she decided she didn't want anything else. Well, it's not how you feel, it's how you look. You look marvelous. I remember those skits from Saturday Night Live, Billy Crystal. You look marvelous. But if you feel good on the inside, it expresses on the outside. I like your background. Oh, thank you, Betty White. I appreciate it. This is Lucky, everyone. He's going to be with me forever. And for those who hadn't seen the community post, that's Lucky. And that's his giant doggy paw print. One thing I don't like about this is the plaster of Paris. It collects dust from his paw print. Good friend. He's a family friend. And he'll always be with me. They clearly stated that they never found any DNA of Suzanne's at any point in the investigation thus far. See, the hope that I know, and that's the part that's scary. Even if Barry had taken forensic cleanup classes, some of that stuff, depending upon the actual surface that it's on, flooring, tile, fabric. You can't remove the traces of blood, and I'm pretty sure they went through the entire house with luminol to try to find traces of cleanup or blood or anything. But you can't remove that stuff. It gets into like the grout work of tile, and it soaks into even laminate flooring. So yeah, unless they have something else out there, that they didn't tell anybody else about. I'm sure that the defense is not going to bring it up, during this portion of the trial if they know about it, because they would have to disclose it to them if they did. But the prosecution never brought it up. Oh, Gayla, that's my favorite cookie, Snickerdoodles. Love Snickerdoodles. My wife and my daughter always kid me. They like chocolate chip or raisin walnut cookies, but I like Snickerdoodles, just the basic, great cookie, flavor wise and everything. I love them, but they call them my basic bitch cookies. It's a skit from Saturday Night Live where lady comes in and with her husband, and the doctor sitting on the other side of the table. And he said, and he goes, "I hate to break the bad news to you, but you're just a basic bitch." And he goes through all the different examples of her, liking Pinterest and and stuff like that, and so on. But they call it my basic bitch cookie. I'm glad to say my daughter will be moving out of Minnesota to Florida soon. Yeah. I mean, it's not that there's anything wrong with the state of Minnesota. I mean, I got a lot of family there, Skedinona. It's just, I don't think I'd want to be in the Twin Cities area, especially after the Derek Chauvin case, what came down. And, um, living there myself and having firsthand experience with the Minneapolis Police Department, back in the 80s and 90s. I know they didn't get any better because I have family who still live there. And it doesn't matter who you are. You see the same officers who, been on the street, all that time. And you're like, yeah, no, no, it's not something I want to be. I wouldn't want to go to Seattle, Washington right now either. And or Portland, Oregon, for some, in some aspects. Betty White, you're in Florida. It's amazing. That's cool. Only DNA that they have talked about comes back to 3 unsolved sexual assaults out of Phoenix and Tempe, Arizona, and Chicago, Illinois. Sure hope they have Pardon on it. Pardon, they're the laboratory who's done some seriously great work helping solve cold case file, a lot of really old cases. I mean, the science is actually what does it, but they've been one of the front runners in actually being able to use and put that technology to use in the right way. A lot of these records are already out there. You can thank the Mormon Church for that in a lot of aspects because they've been collecting DNA. Once they collected birth and death records and genealogy, and census records from everybody and stuff like that. Once they got all that database together, then they start collecting DNA from everybody and putting that in a database. And a lot of those databases are open to the public where they can actually match to them. So Pardon figured, the company said, look, we can do this just like CODIS was doing, but instead of taking what CODIS does and matches it to open cases, how about we try to find a familiar person to this DNA in case it doesn't match what's already in the system. It didn't take a rocket scientist to think of and put to use the idea to use. It was just nobody else had really done it until they came along. And I thank God for them because they're giving answers to a lot of families who've lost loved ones, to tragic, crimes over the years. They're finally able to put a name to somebody and say, that's the person. So I was a nurse in the nurse's office at school, ruled then, wake up every 4 hours, next day, fake, be okay to see cousins. They hid me all day and would wake me up. Raven Spirit, thanks. Now I'm starving after talking about the cookies or the breakfast. Jeannie, good morning. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you could be here today. Betty White says SNL isn't the same anymore. I think it depends on your generation, Betty. If you were a child of the 70s or 80s, you may look at those skits and find them, and those actors and people who did it, you might find them a lot more appealing, a lot more funny. SNL has grown and changed along the ways. I don't find a lot of the new SNL myself personally funny. I only watch it whenever there's a guest host on from something that I like. I think I've watched last one I watched was Eddie Murphy hosted, and then the next one I watched after that, I don't know if it was before or after Eddie hosted, but it had what's that guy's name? I can picture him. He was in Superbad. Drawing a blank now. It'll come to me. Did you hear California's on fire again? Connie, I don't have to. The smoke is blowing my direction. Don't have to hear about it. It sucks. The air quality outside, we're not in the danger zone this week, or at least right now, but I'm sure that the winds will move again. Especially bad. Please pray for California. Yeah, that's awful. I remember the old commercial. Charlie Murphy is cooking Johnsonville brats, and everyone hears because the guy's voice echoes over the water. Everyone comes rowing over. Charlie Murphy is the talent that's never going to come about again. A lot of people don't know that Eddie Murphy, the comedian, movie star, had a brother that was just as talented as he was. He just did his own thing. Charlie would, and a lot of really famous comedians and actors, they have stories about hanging out with Charlie, and that they've told online about how he was an influence to them and how he helped them in their careers to get to where they are today. Great man. Charlene Sullivan says all dogs go to heaven. That's true. I'm too busy praying for the soldiers in the Middle East, putting their lives on the line to help us be free. I'm sad. Wasn't that tragic? That bombing, those two bombings the other day outside the airport. That's awful. Oh, my heart breaks for you. I have all the departure fur babies' ashes in the window where they loved sunning themselves. Oh, Betty White, you're a big animal lover. Just just bought baby chickens. I'm getting chickens. I don't have them yet. Maya Millette, another case. What took so long to arrest him, or to name him a person of interest? I mean, they had the audio of the gunshots. That would have been the first clue, right then and there. I would have, and that they had that's more than probable cause. You have a missing person. You have audio from gunshots from a neighbor's home. You'd be able to should be able to make that connection. Say, well, there's enough here to get at least a warrant. I will, but that's a tragic case. If he gets her declared dead, and no one attacks him, he's home free. I don't know. When it comes right down to it, I think Barry's guilty as hell. I mean, I'm not going to say that he's not. I just where's the evidence? It took so long between the time that she disappeared and then when he finally was arrested. Hell, he could have remodeled the entire home in all that time. There's no evidence of that, but he could have. I mean, he does know how to do it. Like that's not an admission to guilt just because you know how to do something. I know how to work on a motor. Doesn't mean that my neighbor's car, who I helped him put oil in, doesn't mean that he's driving down the road and the rear tire falls off that it's my fault. Existential dread. Welcome. There's 3 soldiers who were died in Kabul are from my hood. My heart is just aching, especially after seeing one of the moms just wanted her son home. It sucks, and it's existential dread. It sucks. I love Minnesota up in the Northwoods and Lake Superior. We have a family cabin up north Minnesota. It's on Lizard Lake. It's outside of the town of Ohanapekosh is what they used to be called, but they renamed the town. I can't remember what they renamed it to, but there's like 5 people who live there. It's not even really a town or a city or anything. It's a gas station, basically, and a general store. But I got family who lives in International Falls. That's the coldest part of the lower 48 states. Coldest temperatures ever recorded are in International Falls. Driving the town, ladies and gentlemen, a giant thermometer as you drive in the town. It's their claim to fame. But it is very pretty up there. You are absolutely right. It's getting Nona. My dad's family are all LDS from the beginning of the church. All of our genealogy has already been done. We'll invite your mom to stay more. You are in such good spirits. No, Raven, I don't get along with my mother. I don't like her. I don't like the sight of her, and that's just never going to change. I've come to terms that my relationship with her is never going to get any better. I've forgiven her for all the awful things that she has done in my lifetime, but the relationship I have with her is never going to be kosher or anything. The only reason why I made her breakfast this morning is because she was standing there and staring at me, and I'm like, "Are you hungry? There's plenty of food." Now, I have to preface it that also with my mother is a head trauma survivor. She has the mental capacity on a good day of a 10-year-old child. She can't take care of herself. She can't be by herself for any length of time. So my sister is currently in Minnesota with her daughter at the Mayo Clinic. So somebody has to be with my mom. And so I happen to have 6 bedrooms, or 6 bedrooms that we can actually use. But and there's only 3 of us who live in this house. So I said, okay, whatever. I'm going to be gone for half of it anyways. So she needs someplace to go for 2 weeks. And they don't have like boarding houses, where you can like take like a pet and board them, or a place where you can board, parents you don't like. And I understand a lot of people think that it's awful that I don't get along with her. I'm at peace with it. And we could try to bend the fences for all the things that she's done, but she wouldn't understand it. And you have to repeat things 10, 15 times. Just remember, to remind her, you're done cooking. You're warming up your soup. Can you turn the stove off? Okay. And then she'll walk away from it. Leave the stove on. Leave the oven on. It's not like leaving the dry. Did I leave the iron on the ironing board? No. Yeah, she puts weird combinations of things together. She has tried to eat things that that will probably kill her if she eats them. Moisturizer is one of her things that she's convinced that her mouth is dry. Instead of getting a glass of water, she needs moisturizer. So she'll put moisturizer in her hand and try to eat it because she thinks in her head you moisturize the inside of your mouth. That's real, ladies and gentlemen. I doubt it. I doubt I will, Betty, but we'll find out. We will find out when she's gone. In the meantime, she's here, at least at my house, for another week. My mom's just saying without leaving the stove on and water running. Oh, she's living with my sister right now because she flooded her apartment. She turned the water on to she was in a, what they call it. It's not a nursing home, but it's like a care facility home for people with disabilities. And they have like little studio apartments. Every person who lived there, and they have they share the social area and kitchen. But they each of them have their own little bathroom, so they're kind of like a little apartments. Um, she's staying with my sister because she flooded hers and did extensive water damage to the rest of the home. She turned the bath on to take a bath, but forgot that she had turned it on, and I guess something clogged in the pipe or something, and so the overflow couldn't stop all the water from getting out, and she flooded the whole freaking place. So guess who gets to pay for that? Me and my sisters. Gianna Marie, good morning. At least we care enough about her after what she's put, the shit she's put us through over the years, to at least take care of her when she can't care for herself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am still here. I just turned the camera off so you can't see me, but you can still hear me. But welcome to the stream, Gianna Maria. I'm glad you could be here today. I hope you had a wonderful week. I try to be, Gianna Marie. I try to treat everyone the way I wish to be treated. I may not get along with her. I may not like the things that she's done in the past, but I still treat her with dignity. And I try to put everything that behind me, and I don't treat her any differently from anybody else. I want people to treat me the same way if I treat them. Do you, Jeannie? Y'all know what I'm doing when I turn the camera off. Did you know that one of the largest YouTube channels, I'm not going to tell you her name, so don't ask, but one of the largest YouTube channels that is that in the true crime genre, she does makeup tutorials and talks about true crime. And she does a little bit of like other things on top of it, like reviews every once in a while of like subscription services, mainly with around cosmetics. But she's a former heroin addict. I absolutely almost dropped. I should have seen me when I found out about it. I was watching another video, and it's a group of people who are sitting around, and they're talking about their experiences addicted to heroin. And I was like, I stopped, I paused the actual video, and I'm like, holy shit, that's her. Insert her name in that context. Not gonna say. Y'all can guess, but I'm not gonna say. If she ever wants to put it out on her channel, that's up for her. And I don't know if she has or if she hasn't. I just found out the other day that she had been addicted to heroin for, I think she said 6 years. She had been mainlining heroin for 6 years. Doesn't make her any less of a great person. I watch her content every week. So yep. Who are we to judge anybody, when it comes to their past? People have made mistakes. Some of the greatest people I know in this world, and I'm not joking, have served time in either prison or jail because they made terrible mistakes and they paid their debt to society and have tried to move on from it. And I don't hold that against them for what they've done in the past. I look at each and every individual out there and I judge them on who they are today, how they treat other people around them today, and where do they want to go in the future. It might be the rare thing or the wrong thing to do, but that's just who I am. I live my life by that. The person in front of you, who are they today? We all have a past that makes us, different from each other. If we were all, had the same life growing up, we'd all just be, the same bland individual. But we're not. We all have, and everything that happened to us in the past, it pushes us forward. May change our views on different things around us, but it's what makes this world great. How do I feel about AA, like Alcoholics Anonymous, Francie? To those who need it, it definitely works. I don't know if too much about it. Somewhere over there on one of the bookshelves, I have one of the I think it's their, what they call it, the Bible or whatever it is, their AA book. It's on one of the shelves outside the studio on the shelf. I was gifted it. Somebody gave it to me. They left it behind and gave it away, and they didn't want it anymore. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But to each their own. I've had quite a few family members and friends who've had serious issues over their lifetime with alcohol and drugs, NA, AA, and at the same time, I know somebody who was addicted to food. She was definitely a overeater, and she went to, was it OA, Overeaters Anonymous? But tragic, but she finally got her life after a lot of therapy to deal with the what was going on and what happened to her and made her into that. Nobody just becomes a heroin addict overnight. There's reasons why people do the things that they do. Either they're trying to self-medicate or something from the past, get rid of the the feeling of not belonging or whatever. Everybody's got a different reason why they do it. But nobody wakes up tomorrow afternoon and says, I want to be a heroin addict today. What's that? Oh, my cat. The only pet we have left is Bogey. I think he's going out the door, though. Manachito! Welcome, Manachito. Don't know, Will. The best indicator of future performance is past performance. I have learned to steer clear of people with checkered past. My life is so much more peaceful for it. I'll give you credit there, Manachito, and you're right. To some aspect. I mean, I'm not gonna become friends with somebody who's abused either the elderly or children in the past. But you did it once, you're gonna do it again. And even if you don't do it again, I don't care to be around you. But I've people who there are people out there who you will use and abuse and then lie their way through and make you think that they've changed their lives. I just accept people, in my life who are around me and who I bring in close to me and my family, and for our own safety, only those who I want to be around and who I trust are going to make the right decisions in the future. But you definitely have a point there. We have an older daughter seriously addictions and in prison now. But Raven, I'm not saying who it is. because I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this creator has actually come out and told people. The video that I watched was not on this person's channel. It was on a completely different platform from YouTube altogether. I was researching another case, and I just happened to stumble across the actual video. It may be unlisted on YouTube, if it is on YouTube, but there was a link to the video, like one of those little pictures. You're scrolling through like the news feed on something, and it's got a little picture, and you can click on it, and that'll redirect you to a YouTube video or something, or past news footage. But this one was just people sitting around and talking about their lives and their experiences, and with heroin, and how they got clean and where they are today. And if it wasn't for certain things that you could definitely pick out in the video about this individual, you never would have known it was this person. Will, sir, your name. Smiles. 5 favorite foods, please. Loser, 5 favorite foods. Let's see here. Off the top of my head, in rapid fire, fettuccine Alfredo, made the right way. So many people screw up even a simple dish like that. Grilled cheese, made the right way. And to me, right way is 1 cheese and 1 cheese only. You don't have to get all fancy with it, like add 5 different cheeses to it. Steak, cooked, at the right way, rare. That I don't like anything anywhere close to medium. See, then I'm gonna have to go with number 4. I like the what they call it, borscht. I think they call it, like the soup. Number 5, stuffed grape leaves. It's a Greek dish. That's 5 off the top of my head. It's a crying shame. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful week. I'm glad you could be with us today, sweetheart. Will, you'd love my grilled cheese. Tri-tip on a Traeger. Zelda, I have it's not a Traeger, it's made by a King Smoke. It's like a Traeger. I have one. I almost never use it. Every time we end up barbecuing, it's always the same thing. It's either pork, really thick pork steaks, steak, burgers, chicken. If we have a lot of kids around, we might make some hot dogs, and then always cob corn, and asparagus. My family they're very, very non-adventurous. Let's just say that. They like to do always the same thing. Dolmas. Yeah, another dish that I really like, but I can't get anymore here locally. Because we used to have my sister's husband's mother, so that'd be whatever that relation is to me. I'm terrible at figuring those ones out, especially when it comes to in-laws and their side of the family, what that relation is to me. But adobo, because they're Filipino, and she used to make adobo, and she'd make 200 or 300 spring rolls at a time for me, and uncooked and all, in big huge freezer bags. And I'd put them in the deep freeze, take them out, and whatever I wanted to make them. They were so damn good. But we have one Filipino restaurant left here, but they're like a town and a half over. It's be close to 19 miles one way just to get there. You love tacos, Gayla? Every time I see taco podcast video, post that I'm in the kitchen and cooking them. Yeah, that's his nickname. My son's nickname is Taco. In case you guys are wondering, where that's what the name for mine and my wife. We have a podcast that we do on YouTube. Um, we've tried different platforms, and we're getting there though. We're trying to figure out an easier way to upload just one file as opposed to having to upload it to multiple different places. But right now it's only on YouTube. But the podcast that we do every Sunday is called the Taco Podcast. I'm doing a sleep study tonight at the hospital to see if I have sleep apnea. Don't think I'll be able to sleep. Isn't that weird, Raven? So, incidentally, Raven, my wife is doing one tomorrow. They told her the only things she's allowed to bring with her into the actual sleep study: pajamas, blanket, pillow. That's it. But she's not allowed to bring anything else extraordinary. They have like a little safe thing that she can put her cell phone and stuff in if she has to bring car keys and stuff like that. But that's it. But hers is not for sleep apnea. It's what they I can't remember what they called it. It's something like sleep apnea, but she doesn't stop breathing. But I can tell you this much: after 26 years together, she grinds her teeth in her sleep, and she snores like there's no damn tomorrow. She's like, "Do I snore?" I'm like, yes, you do." When I first saw the Taco Podcast channel, I wrongfully thought it was a cooking channel. We get that a lot, Gayla. We do, because there are 3 or 4 other channels that are all called Taco, the Taco, or Taco Stream, that are all about tacos. There's one really good one. I can't remember what its actual name is, but it's got the word taco in it, where the individuals go around from different taco trucks, mainly in the Los Angeles area and greater areas around there. It's really cool. Seymour Ignorance, Secret Santa here to fill up some stockings. Hey, y'all, just coming to say hi. Changed my long name just for y'all. Well, thank you, Seymour Ignorance. I like the Seymour Ignorance. That's a good name. I like it though. Connie Kelly, you snore bad? Does Kevin say you snore? Gooby loves tacos. I, I I like tacos. They're okay. I don't like tacos like my family likes tacos. Whenever my wife makes tacos, she puts way too much taco seasoning in either the beef or pork or whatever, or chicken, whatever she's making it, out of. She won't eat fish. We're not allowed to have any kind of fish products in my house. No seafood, nothing at all. She won't allow it in the house at all, ever. Because she doesn't like it, nobody gets it. If you want it, there's a restaurant down the road. That's the way she looks at it. But she puts way too much seasoning. But they like to put like olives and tomatoes and onions, and instead of lettuce, they use cabbage, green and red cabbage in tacos instead, shredded up. I like the just meat and maybe onions. That's it. I don't like all the other sour cream, guacamole. I don't like any of that stuff in a taco. And I like hard tacos as opposed to soft tacos. You can't over season the meat? Well, you'd love my wife. She buys those things at Costco, the big, huge freaking taco seasonings by McCormick. Man, they don't last very long. I was like, you really need that much seasoning? Yeah, she'll go through that. Easy. before I had my knee replacement surgery, my doctor told me if you snore, it means something is wrong. Really? I've had my left knee replaced, Gala. I had 3/4 replacement in my left knee. My right knee, I've had scoped like twice, and I've had the tendon. I can't remember what the name of it is. So the tendon that runs over the top of the kneecap. Um, but that actually can't. I tore it to the point where it actually they had to go in and they had to put in biodegradable staples and staple it back to my leg. Vargas. Well, did you hear Sirhan? Sirhan is getting paroled. I'm shocked. Gianna Marie, you'll have to wait until after the stream is over with to watch the video that I have coming out on that. Not no joking though. So I told everybody there was a video coming out after this stream this morning that had historical significance. Yes, I heard that Sirhan has well, they have not voted on it yet. Okay. Since we're going to talk about it, you know, in case you guys don't have time to watch the video right after this stream this morning, Sirhan Sirhan has been in prison for 53 years since he killed Bobby Kennedy. At the actual parole hearing, Douglas Kennedy, who was just a baby at the time, a toddler, when his father was killed, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., both of them went to the parole hearing, along with former Senator Paul Sherrod. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I'm probably sure I screwed it up, whichever direction it is. They all went to the parole hearing. And for the first time ever, the Kennedy family is no longer going to oppose or object to him receiving parole. Now, he just finished up his 16th parole hearing. Either the Kennedy family objected to it or they opposed it every single time up until then. The following is a quote, an exact quote by Douglas Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy's son. I think I've lived my life in both fear of him and his name in one way or another. I hope the state of California can find a way to release this man on parole. That's an exact quote from Douglas Kennedy. Yes, so Sirhan is up for parole. So this is what happens. There are 10 people who are on the parole board hearing. That sometimes it's only 6, but most of the time it's 10, especially when it's a high-profile case like Sirhan Sirhan. Everybody, has to vote, and everybody shows up. But they've been given these letters, not only testimony from these 3 witnesses there, Douglas Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Paul Sherrod. But they actually testified at the parole hearing, and they turned over, each of them gave them a letter saying that they are not going to oppose it. And both of the Kennedy boys turned over a letter saying that the family no longer opposes it, the parole of Sirhan Sirhan. So the next step is they have to vote. The 10 members will vote. It has to be a majority who will vote on to actually parole him. They then, if he does get the 6 out of 10, they will then take that to Governor Newsom, who will actually decide if he gets parole. If Newsom says nope, then he stays right where he is. He isn't going anywhere, but he's in prison because the parole hearing is actually held there. But he will then go back to his cell, and then in 4 more years, he'll be up for parole, eligible for parole again. But right now, the way it stands is the Kennedy family is no longer going to oppose his actual parole. So, but yeah, I did hear that Sirhan Sirhan is up for parole. You don't think so, Mike? That Newsom won't release him? Yeah. Overturned in 1972. Exactly, Gala. So Douglas Kennedy no longer fears him after fearing him all his life. That's what he said. That's an exact quote that he read off. He read off a statement that he had prepared to read to the parole board. That I got that directly from it. There's more to it than what it's right there. There's 2 pages total about the actual parole hearing, who testified, what they said. That was the 2 pages, and then the 3rd page of it, the state of California redacted some of the information on there about where he would be paroled to. He would go first. He'd go to a halfway house, and then there's an actual family member. Yes, Sirhan Sirhan still has family who live and reside in the state of California, who have decided that they will take him in after the halfway house. So, I didn't know he had family left. I mean, he's been there for 53 years. You're cute, Will. Oh, thank you, Gianna Marie. I was absolutely floored when I watched it the other day. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I don't know how to feel about it myself, if he should be released or not. I mean, I would have given him the sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. I mean, but the best thing about watching the video that that I was watching the other day from I think it was KTSC Channel 5 out of Los Angeles. Because I have a friend who's actually a reporter there. We went to college together at Washington State University, but he sent me the actual link and everything else and on the copies of it. But I'm watching it and I'm thinking to myself, where would the world be if Bobby, Robert Kennedy, Bobby, same guy, wasn't assassinated in the kitchen that day? What would a Bobby have done? I think he had a lot of different things that he really wanted to accomplish, political wise, and that he was going to do. They should have kept the DP on Manson's family instead of letting them turn into cultural icons for damaged goods bins. People who admire killers. Yeah, but there are people who admire these freaks for other reasons. Oh, good morning, Luza. I didn't see you there. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful week. I'm glad you could be here. I hope Sirhan goes back to Jordan. His family lives in Pasadena, California. See, you found that out too, or you knew that, Gayla? I just doing a Google search of his family and those who showed up for his testimony and through the trial as witnesses. I made the connection, so it's on the internet. That he has family in the Pasadena area. He also has family in a couple other surrounding areas around Los Angeles. Sorry, I have to reply back to somebody who's helping me with another story that I'm working on. Just letting them know that I'll get back to them later. Coffee? You need coffee, Rycart? Yep, he did. See my TU2. I heard a report that Doug said Sirhan didn't pull the trigger. Is that true? See my TU2. I've seen a video on YouTube about that Sirhan wasn't the shooter. I have not seen it all, but I do know there is a video on YouTube. If you just go to the search box at the top of the page and you put in Sirhan name, I'm sure it'll come up. Janelle, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could be here this morning. How was your week? Palestinian. But he certainly didn't say anything about that he wasn't the killer at the parole hearing. I have this in complete statement, and then I have a copy of the one it's not a complete statement of everything that he said. It's just the notes that were taken by other people who were there. So it's not like an official, like, here's a copy of it, of what I'm going to say word for word. Week was good. Thank you. Good, Janelle. Good. It's tutu, like ballerinas wear. See my tutu. Okay. I didn't know if the different letters stood for something else. So I've told this story before. I was gonna tell everybody about my lucid dreams that I had. I was in the hospital because I had a seizure, and they weren't sure what actually caused the seizure itself. It turns out it was from head trauma, but I had a seizure, and they decided to give me propofol. And when they gave me the propofol, it sent me into I think it was almost a day, like 24 hours of nonstop seizures. But while I was under in a medicated state, they had purposely medicated me to stop me, from trying to stop me from having the seizures. I had such lucid dreams. One of them, I'm in the actual hospital in this dream. I'm in the hospital bed, and for some unknown reason, Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols walked into my room. Black leather pants, black leather jacket, typical, like what he would be wearing, like on a poster. If you saw a poster, I have no posters of Sid Vicious. I don't even own a single Sex Pistols album or the Sid and Nancy album, but wasn't really all that great of big of a fan of it either. But Sex Vicious came in and gave me a comb so I could comb my hair, and he sat there with this deep British accent, and I could smell like that that musty smell you get from leather that has been got wet. I mean, all these things are just these hallucinations just went on and on and on. That was just one of the three that I had, and it was like living in an alternative universe and being there. Not only with Sid Vicious dead, but it was everything is so real. Like you could reach out and say, that I'm going to pick up this remote, and actually pick up the remote, and actually know you could feel it in your hands. Everything you set down was so real. I don't know what other drugs they gave me, but they gave me some gnarly medication to to make sure I didn't die from their stupid mistake. Did you know you were dreaming? Nope. I had no idea. I had no idea that I was dreaming at all. So that was the first one. I'll tell you about the second one. So the second one, completely different. They were all different. But in the second dream, I'm an old man, probably about 70, maybe 80 years old. And I'm sitting in a wheelchair. And I'm wearing brown, like dark brown, polyester pants, 1970s kind of style. I'm wearing a plain white button-up t-shirt, but it's got little tiny yellow and brown flowers on it, like just tiny little flowers. And I'm sitting in this wheelchair, and I'm in this corridor. It's not a long, endless corridor, but it's a corridor that you would find in just about any office building in America where the architecture is older. The floor is marble, and there's marble halfway up the walls itself, and there's a ramp that goes up to a series of like 4 doors. And I'm sitting there, and I look at the door, and there's a name of a doctor on the door, but I can't read it and I can't pronounce it. But then it says MD, and then somebody else's name on the door, and the wood, casing around it is really old. You can see it's been there forever. It's got some deep scars, but it looks like somebody has applied a varnish over them. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, why can't I walk? How did I get this old? Because that the other thing is, there's a mirror directly across from me. I'm on the wheelchair ramp, and I'm stopped in the wheelchair. Directly across from me, on the opposite side of where the doors are, is a big mirror. And it's got a mirror with like a painted mural along the outer side, like out edges, like that frosted glass stuff. And it's like a floral pattern on the mirror. And I'm like, why am I here? How the hell did I get to this age? But I know it's me. It's not like I'm looking in the mirror, I'm looking at myself, and I can tell it's me, but I'm just far advanced in age from where I was at that time. And I'm sitting there watching myself in this situation, and I'm like, but I can't figure out how to get the chair to roll. It won't roll. For some reason, it is just stuck right there. And I'm looking, and the brakes and everything else are off, and I'm moving back and forth in it, trying to to see if I can get it to move. Can't get it to move at all. So finally, I get enough strength, and I put my hand on the one side, and I bounce up against the wall in between 2 doors, and I slowly work my way down the ramp to the front. Now I'm looking at a single glass doorway, glass entry door, glass window on both sides, laced curtains on both sides. They only go about halfway up from the total window, but it's just enough to add privacy, for those coming and going. And the front door is frosted glass from top to bottom, and there's a number on it that's written backwards, but I can't make sense of it. I slowly work my way down and around, and I get to the door. I turn that doorknob, and I open the door to the outside, but it's got one of those, hydraulic things on it, so I can't really get the door open. So I try to wedge myself through it, and I finally end up outside in this little entryway, and every single car, everything around me, and everybody walking on the sidewalks is 1950. Everything. And I'm like, I'm in the fucking Twilight Zone. That's what I'm thinking to myself. How in the hell did I get here? How did I get this old? And why am I in 1950? And it was everything. I just stood there. People walked by. Other men tipped their hats to me. Ladies walked by, smiled at me. Other people said good morning or good afternoon. They said, the nice cordial, like, how you doing? Or whatever it might have been. That was the second dream. I had a dream I lived in New Jersey and woke up to a nightmare. I really do live in New Jersey. Yeah, but I have no idea and no context to any of it at all. But I swear, even to this day, you know, all these years later, I really think I know where that hallway is and that where those car and where that office is. It's one of those things that's just always bothered me. I've never gone there to actually see if it's there, but I've just for some reason in my mind it feels like I know where this location is. Probably not doctor's offices, probably an office building someplace, but I think I know exactly where it is. Like but I know I've never been there before, but I think I know where it is somehow, some way. Isn't that just weird? The third one would take me a heck of a lot longer to explain. I've done it on my channel before. I don't know if it's still there or not. Some of the older videos that I did, I've removed. Just didn't like the way it sounded. Sounds like your spirit was in someone's real experience in 1950. You know, Francie, the one thing that bothered me about it is I'm sitting there, and it felt like I was there forever. Is sitting in the chair, just trying to figure out why I'm there, how I got that old, and why would I be wearing these, awful clothes? But I'm sitting there and I'm like thinking to myself over and over again, like, why isn't anybody coming or going from any of these offices? Does anybody know I'm here? Maybe that's the larger question, you know, and maybe that's what the brain was trying to tell me. It was I'm trying to figure out my place in the world. I mean, you could go into a deep dive into it all and try to figure it all out, but I don't know. But nobody ever came. And then while I was standing there watching people walk on the opposite side of the street and on the same side of the street as this, and I'm watching cars pull away from the curb and parallel park and drive away. I'm watching all this, and then I just woke up. That was the end of that dream. I mean, I didn't wake up. I was in a coma. I was in a drug-induced coma at the time. The third one, cement shoes. The third one is I'm a guitarist in the dream, and for some strange unknown reason that would never make a million bit of sense to me at all, I'm at home watching television, and I'm wearing like a one of those tank top um, like t-shirts, and I'm sitting there watching television, and the next thing I know, the doorbell rings. I walk to the door. I look outside, and it's downpouring rain. And there's a guy standing there, and he says, "We need you to come help us today." And I'm like, "Sure." And I just turn around. I grab my guitar. It's in the case, and I don't turn anything off. I just walk out of the house. And the next part of it, I'm in London in a tiny little dark music studio with a wooden chair, light that's coming in from one direction, and I'm just sitting there and I'm playing the guitar. I take a break. I go out to the alleyway behind the place, smoke my cigarette, rain puddles. The streets are all made of cobblestones, and there's rain puddles that are gathered on top of the cobblestone, road street there. And I'm playing, and all they're doing is recording me playing the guitar. But the part that doesn't make any sense at all, it would never make any sense at all, is for some reason something happened to the guitar tracks for the Live at Leeds album. And I'm of all the people in the world, they can't find anybody else to play the guitar, so they have me play all the re-record all the audio of the guitar for the Live at Leeds album. That's the way shortened version. There's people I interact with and I talk to. Blues musician Can Heat is there. Why is he there? Why doesn't he record this? Why'd they come to my house and wake me, get me up out of my chair, out of my home, to go record, an album in London when this man is there who is far more superior and talented than I was. So. Oh, good morning, Queen C. Either that or our monkey got taken in front of the front yard, which 30 years ago in Idaho wouldn't happen to free range kids. I grew up in the free range kids era, I guess. Growing up when they're younger, the only way I knew when I had to come home was when the street lights came on. I'm a rock star. I'm not a rock star unless you have a different definition of it. Right card. Bye, Janelle. You have a great weekend. Hey, look. I just realized that the new my logo that I uploaded is finally showing here instead of the other one. Lorette Wilcox. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful week. And Lisa. I'm sorry if I missed you earlier, Lisa. But welcome either way. And your third dream, was it as realistic as the other? Oh, Francie, yes, it was. In my entire life, Francie, I don't remember ever having dreams, and I've never had any dreams like that ever since, that were so livid. I could smell, taste, everything that I touched texturally. It was really there in my hands, like I could feel things in my hands. Stubbed my toe, I felt it. Or everything and everything. It was like living in a completely different universe as an individual. I was still me, but I wasn't me. You'd leave for days, huh? Yeah, me and my uncles used to do it. Leave for days. We go on fishing trips, or we'd jump on box cars. The trains used to come in behind my grandmother's house, and they come to a stop before the switch yard, and then they had to go over a bridge over the Mississippi. And we used to ride the trains up and down from Little Falls, Minnesota, up to Brainerd, in St. Cloud area, upstate Minnesota. Not that long of a trip, but we'd get off either one, whichever, depending on which grandparents we were going to go see, and we'd go fishing for a couple of days, and then do the reverse. catch the train back. I'd have a freaking heart attack if my son decided to do anything even remotely like that now. Outside of Kansas, riding horses far from home all day and loved it. You're from Lake Superior, Loretta, Lake Superior, Wisconsin. We used to go up there and fishing twice a year. We'd go up just before the freeze, and then we'd go up in the middle of summer because it wasn't that far from our cabin to Lake Superior. It's probably about 2 hours, but still. Reichardt, was I a Sex Pistols fan? No. I mean, I like some of their music, but I was never, a huge fan of their. I don't own any of their albums even to this day. You love it up there? It's very pretty. Loretta, where you lived up there, did they have supper clubs? Supper as in dinner clubs? It's one of the things I miss being out here on the West Coast. We don't have anything like that. Dinner clubs. Fish fry? Oh, fish fry, man. We used to fish from about 3 miles from where the Mississippi starts. And ladies and gentlemen, you can actually go to this place. It's a little tourist trap, but you can go to where the Mississippi starts, and it's just a little creek that runs. Can't be any more than like 2 feet wide where it starts, and then and then downriver a couple miles. It's wide as hell. But we used to fish from there all the way down, past the Twin Cities. We'd fish for sturgeon, muskie, walleye, and on the Mississippi, along with catfish. No, we never went noodling for catfish. We used them as bait. You don't think the monkey's parents did anything? Don't want it to happen to us. You're super vigilant. Mike, you think Somber's mom did something? I don't know. I'm not sure who did what in that case. I have to. That's the one thing that scares the hell out of me. And each and every gate in my backyard has a padlock on it, so my son can't get out because he thinks it's the funniest thing in the world to just take off. When he gets out of the yard, he'll just run, no stopping. He just thinks that everything stops for him once he runs off. And getting my ass up out of a chair and then running down the street at a full sprint after a 5-year-old. Yeah. Do it once, you learn to take every precaution you can. I can run for a good distance, but not as far as he can. He's got energy for days. Your son's a runner too. How is Taco? Well, he's doing great. Getting ready. Wednesday, me and little man, we go to his school to meet his teacher for the first time. He will be in kindergarten. And we'll find out where his classroom is, and he'll get assigned a little cubby for his classroom. It's not an actual day of school. It's just to meet the teachers and the para educators who work in the classroom. Then He goes back the following Monday for the first day. Mandy Hall, good morning. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you could be here today. You think you're neutral on Summer Wells case? I don't know what's going on there. I know two things for certain when it comes to the Summer Wells case. One, Don Wells needs to just stop doing interviews. It doesn't matter what who asked, just stop doing them. He's not doing the case any good. He's not doing himself any justice either. The other thing that I'm certain of is that a lot of the things that people report they say they know about the case are not actually factually proven. I've seen speculation, rumors, and lies on mainstream news programs that they heard from a source that this was it, and they report it all as the news. And then a week later on their website, they put a little tiny blip at the bottom of retraction for what they reported on the evening news the week before. I've seen it happen countless times in this case so far, and it's sad. It's really sad because none of it is helping the investigation at all. None of it's going to bring her home. Are you getting him a backpack? Try to get a cheap bento box for him. He already has a backpack already that I bought him. It's a raccoon. It's a big, it looks like a raccoon. It's got raccoon ears. We tried. I took him to the store, and then I went through the ones that were going to fit his actual items itself, that he's going to take back and forth to school. And then I let him pick out which one he actually liked. And the raccoon backpack actually matches kind of his bike helmet, his scooter helmet. It's not a raccoon. His actual bike helmet is, I think it's supposed to be like a squirrel or some other character from a TV show, but it's got little ears as well on it. But he liked it. So I laid him out and I let him make the decision on which one he wanted. And that's the one he wanted. So it is, Lisa. The case is a clusterfuss. No, Francie, no. Nope, no more pets for us. No, I'm not going through that again. This one tore me apart the way it was. But we lost 4 dogs. 4 dogs and a cat in the last year and a half. More than enough for me. At a certain age, yeah. But I thought that it'd be more beneficial for him if he helped make the decision instead of just buying stuff for him. Like, okay, you need a backpack, all right, you need clothes for school. I took him shopping because his mom, she'll just go into the store and just say, I'll just take the entire clothing department and put it all in a cart. She likes to shop for him. But I take him to the store. I'm like, I was like, do you like this shirt? How about these pants? And he'll tell me, yes, no. In case you're not aware or unfamiliar, my son is autistic, and he is speech delayed. So add that to when he takes off. If you ever was to get out of my sight, he can't exactly call out, that he needs help, or, you can't call his name. If you scream his name out, it just frightens him even more. But losing pets is the hardest. It is, Raven. It's not something that I enjoy at all. Because they're not just pets to me. They're members of my family. They're my friends. Do you think they will bring charges against Don for the SA of the warrant? I don't know, Loretta. Loretta. Don't know. I don't know. My son, even if he wasn't autistic, Quincy, he's fast. A lot faster than me. I mean, I'm not a sprinter or a runner by any means at all, but he is fast. Hard to catch him when he goes. So we learned the hard way, about the backyard locking, putting the padlocks on the gates so he can't get out. And we take him to the park. We take him to the park to a park that we know has a chain link fence that borders the outside of the park. There's a huge playground there, a water park and everything else, but he can't get out of there. There's only one main entrance and one main exit. And they actually had built this place on purpose to for safety for children. You can't like just walk up to the fence, or you can't even walk up to the outside perimeter of the fence and just look over and here's a free kid and grab one. You can't do that. You can't even get within 7 feet of the fence because you have to go down in a ditch, and there's big boulders that are there for artistic reasons, I guess. So all of them have a different like plaque on them that tell you something historic about the area. Do you need to have more locks and devices due to his autism? No, just the 2 gates in the backyard. Um, he hasn't been adventurous. He hasn't gotten into anything else. I mean, this isn't our first child. We raised our daughter. She's 24, so we don't have to put locks on the cabinets in the kitchen, or anything like that, because we already know got to put all that stuff up. In the refrigerator, we don't have to lock that, but he already has his own shelf in the refrigerator where he's got his apple juices, and he's got his little snack packs, the little Ziploc baggies. I put the carrot sticks and celery sticks in because he loves those. That's what he likes to snack on. So he's got a little thing he can pull out, and he's got his snack packs and stuff in there. But his autism, no, he's just as smart as every other kid, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about autism is they're just as smart, if not smarter, than other kids. But they have barriers to actual communication and to expressing their feelings. When my son gets hurt, he doesn't cry. If something makes him sad, he doesn't get mad. He has no way of expressing any of that. And that's the thing that scares the living shit out of us. Is if somebody was to hurt him, he can't communicate with us what happened. It is, Francie. It's very, very difficult to send him to school. Nobody watches over my son except for my mother-in-law. We're lucky to have her around. My wife, my daughter, myself. We don't hire outside babysitters or anything like that. We do have a friend she used to be a paraeducator for special education, but she helped us before and around the time he was born to learn sign language. So he can communicate a lot more that way. But now he's picking up words a little bit more, but you have to really listen to him because he talks so low, in tone. and he doesn't pronounce things correctly 100% of the time, but he's getting there. I mean, he's only 5. I'm sure by the time he's 15, you know, I'll be, praying for cotton balls that I can shove in my ears to, to drown him out. But at this stage, he learns a new word. Oh, he's really good at repeating things too. For a month and a half, his favorite word was the F word. And that's all he would say for a month and a half because he doesn't understand what the context of words are because he's 5. So he heard someone say it and he just kept on repeating it. Only your family watches your son if needed. Yeah, same here. It's one of those things that we worry about. Well, I think every parent worries about their children that way to a large extent. I've had some really amazing students that were autistic. That's cool. Why did that guy David Dobbs suddenly disappear? I'm not familiar who David Dobbs is, Connie. I'm drawing a blank on that name. Sorry. At 3 years old. She would have died laughing. he gets on kicks like that though. So last week they have in the park, the same park that we take them to. They have a little wading pool. It's probably about 6, maybe 8 inches of water in it. It's made for little kids and toddlers. And he went to it, and we said, "Hey, we're gonna go swimming," and he had a blast. But after that, after we took him down there to splash around the water with all the other little kids his age and younger, some were a little bit older, but we took him down, and that everything for like a week and a half was swim, 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 swim. He wanted an apple juice, swim. What's his favorite Queen C? I don't know what his favorite food is. There's certain foods he won't eat. I would have to say if he has a favorite food, it's probably a Totino's pizza. He likes that a lot. He'd eat that for every meal if we allow him to, but we don't. We don't. The guy from church, he played the flute, took the Welsh boys to miniature golf. Oh, I don't know. My son has been in school since 2, but at tutor time, which is naturally a known facility, I didn't want him home all day. Even at 2, he went maybe 3 hours a day. My son, even though school starts in a week from now, but Wednesday we have the meeting with the teachers, and then the following week he starts school. He will still be going to independent speech therapy and occupational therapy. It's something I privately pay for to help him catch up to where other students are, and to help him kind of break out of the mold. I mean, he's never going to be 100% like every other kid, but then again, I don't want my son to be like every other kid. I want him to be happy and safe, just like every other parent. And you want the best for your children. You want them to be happy and safe. So that's what makes it important to me. Do they provide personal teachers assistants? Yeah, they're called para educators. Um, it's kind of unique the way his classroom is structured is there's a group of 6 students that are in my son's class with the teacher and the paraeducator. And then in the same classroom, there is another group of 6 to 10. So, 12 or, 16, somewhere in there, whatever the number is. All right. And so these children in this group are they don't need special needs, and the group of 6 that my son is with obviously do, and they half of the day they interact with each other. It's just one big classroom, and then this group of children who don't need assistance, they have smaller break off groups in the groups of 2 or 4, and the same thing with their group, they do it too. So the children are not segregated, they're not in different classrooms. It's all one classroom and everything is going on. It's just 2 teachers and 2 paraeducators to the actual classroom itself. Now, that won't be that way going through school. That's just kindergarten and first grade. They do it that way because they got a grant from the federal government for a pilot program that starts off with early. It's before actual. You may have what is it? Oh God, what the hell did they call it? A Head Start. You may have a Head Start program in your area. Well, they got a grant to start students even earlier than Head Start, and it follows them through the first 3 years of actual school as part of this grant for every one of the students who applied for it and got approved, which was just about 100%. But it gives each and every one of them more one-on-one as opposed to here's a teacher, here's 50 students, or how many kids they actually sign up for the classroom. It breaks every classroom down into 2 small groups within each classroom. And now again, that after first grade it ends. So that'll be the end of his 3-year period. And then it's teacher, paraeducator, and classroom of kids. But they're trying to see if they, where is it more beneficial to give more one-on-one attention with students as opposed to the old model of public school where you're basically warehousing them and then you were trying to get them to regurgitate back out what you just taught them, which doesn't work for a lot of students. We already knew that, but some kids learn more hands-on, some learn more in a better way by hearing something or seeing something, as opposed to doing hands-on work. And other kids who can sit down and you can hand them a book and they'll write you a report on it in like 10 minutes in the first grade. There's different kids are learning different ways. You are the most important teacher. Absolutely true, Lisa. Absolutely true. Education starts at home for every child and every parent. And trust me, as much as I teach him, he's teaching me at the same time. I'm learning more and more from him than he is. I think that he's probably getting from me. But we still have to work on penmanship. I don't remember being that wild with writing my letters when I was a kid, but it probably was. I mean, a day that goes by where I wake up, I pop my head into his bedroom, see if he's still asleep. He's laying there sleeping. Get him. It's called First Step reading books. Oh, I've never heard of the First Step reading books of Queen C, but he's got a lot of books. I mean, a lot. Her name is Patronelli. I'm trying to picture the cover of the book. Stacy Patronelli, I think it is. But she has books on everything from potty books to you know, um, yummy, yucky, and uh, how to be, like sad, uh, bath time. That she has all kinds of different books, and they're like the hard board books. He's got a million of those. I mean, we bought. Well, I know for a fact we have every single book that she ever wrote. And if she was to come up with another one, we'll get that as well. But his favorite books are um, H.P. Lovecraft books but they're for kids, and on and there's different ones. I can't remember all of them though. My son runs a nonprofit autistic foundation. If you'd like her resources, I can send you hers. Please do, Kubi. Please do. Send me. It send. You got a pen ready or a pencil? I'll give you my email address, because there are quite a few other parents that we all have a group that we talk amongst each other, like group chat. And I've got another mother that I've just started talking with, a mother and father. I think they're from Pennsylvania, and they have one child that's autistic and one child that has Down syndrome. Your son has advantage already by having you as a dad. Oh, thank you, Loretta. I appreciate that. Just like every other parent, you do the best you can with what you have. I don't have all the answers. I know that. I'm going to make mistakes. None of them come with a manual, like or a book. Says this is how you raise them. This is what to do. Are they doing class dojo, Quincy? They were. If the schools get shut down again, we'll be doing the class dojo again online. Yep, I like the dojo. That was I liked it. My son, not so much. He learns more hands-on than he does, and learning things through the computer like that. It's not something it's easy for him. He can see it visually, he understand it. But Stacy W, good morning. But one of the things that's helped him, a lot with um, communication is I can't remember the name of the stupid thing that's called. I can't. I'm drawing like blanks on so many things this morning. But it's basically a 3-ring binder, but each page is hard and it's got little tiles on it. They're Velcro. You peel them off and he can put them on a board and then it make a sense. I want, I need, and then the item and please. And when you can match up pictures to the items, so that helps him sound out and make complete senses. That he's got that physical book, and he also has it on a tablet. But I can't remember what they call it on a tablet now. My wife was here. She'd like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. She know exactly what I'm talking about. Yep. Yes, they are, Queen C. Masks are required for everyone, even if they are vaccinated. That goes for students and for faculty or anybody who spends any time inside of the school. Now, even though my son is autistic and it's hard as hell for him to read facial expressions and understand, all that already, the teachers in his classroom are going to be wearing these face shields. It's like a shield like you see in a doctor's office, but it comes down, it goes underneath the chin itself. So it's see-through, it's clear plastic, so he can actually see the expression on the teacher's face, and what they're, and when they're trying to, sound out letters and everything else. I mean, he knows. He'll say the alphabet forward And numbers, he loves counting. He knows all of his numbers and colors and everything else, but it's just trying to put all of that together. He's missing that giant link of being able to put things together. Real Duct Tape Bandit. Good morning. I hope you're having a great morning. I am Duct Tape Bandit. I hope you are as well. I've been going through some deep depression, but I'm okay now. My friend just messaged me and said her old man and 4 of her 8 kids have COVID. Oh, shit. I'm sorry about that, Duct Tape Bandit. Does he do art? It depends on what you call art, Francie. He'll color me a picture. He hasn't learned how to color inside the lines in a coloring book yet. Use a breathable fabric. The CDC recommends. Zelda, the masks that we got for my son are we got through my wife's work at the hospital, so they're medical grade, but they're stylish, I guess is the best way to put it. Nearly 500 kids here in Oregon with COVID was on the news this morning. Oh, it's going to get a lot worse, Zelda. We were watching the news last night, about the vaccination rate for adults in our area, and those who there are people in our actual hospital here. We saw something similar to this on the news, but we have people in our local hospital that are they're not on ventilators, but they have COVID. They're in the hospital, and they're still refusing to get inoculated. They're that sick that they're in the hospital, but they're still refusing to get the shots. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Go ahead and die. In the herd, dummies. I got vaxxed and getting the booster later. Yeah, I haven't gotten the booster yet, Queen C. I mean, I had to get, even though I had COVID. I was probably the first one I know of around here who got it. But I definitely had it. I was tested. I tested positive. It wasn't fun, but I was in the last group of mass inoculations. Those people. So we had teachers and first responders, and then they broke it down in my area into who could get the shot, and that was in the last group. But I finally got both of them. I'm one of the anti-vaxxers, Mike. Well, I don't know what to tell you, Mike. I don't think there's anything that I could say or anybody else can say that's going to change your mind. I'm pretty sure of that, Mike. You have to make up the decision for yourself, right? After all, at the end of the day, it's your life. But isn't the vaccine FDA approved now? That's one of the things that a lot of people who are against the vaccinations have touted, that it doesn't have FDA approval. Now, you have to look at what the actual vaccines received 100% that FDA approval underneath in an emergency usage act. That's how we were able to speed through the process, along with doing all the paperwork and all the other shit that slows things down. They sped that through. That's how we were able to get it out into the market so fast. It had 100% FDA approval underneath the Emergencies Act. Now it has FDA approval for everything. And now each and every company who makes their own version of the COVID vaccine can rebrand it, and they've all picked a name or copyrighted a name for it. So they have a new name for it, and now they can start making millions and billions of dollars off of it. So, yeah, and yes, To answer your question, now it has it has the actual FDA approved license, but it had the approval under the Emergencies Act. It's always been FDA approved. The FDA won't even if you're in a clinical trial for a drug and they give it to you, it has to have FDA approval to get into the actual trial, to have a trial. The rest of it is just paperwork. They already know what it's going to do and what it's not going to do before they ever give it to somebody. I mean, sure, they knew there were going to be side effects. Shit, I've gotten the flu shot and gotten had side effects from the flu shot. I've gotten side effects from getting the rabies booster. Anybody else out there have the rabies booster? I hate that. You have to get them over a series of days, but you don't want rabies, because you get rabies, you're gonna die. I think there's only been like a couple of people, in modern medicine, who have survived, getting a case of rabies. But for the company I used to work for, we had to have rabies. Everybody had to have the pre-rabies vaccinations over, I think it's like 4 days period. But I can guarantee you $1 to a donut if they were to announce people who got the vaccine that would be eligible for a stimulus. They could prove they got it, and people would be lining up around city blocks. Here's an interesting point along with that, but you're probably 100% true there, Duct Tape Bandit. But in my state, we did a lottery. So an actual lottery giving away up to $1 million for anybody who just got the vaccine. All right, all you had to do was get both shots, or the one shot, which is, I think, was that the Johnson & Johnson one shot? But whatever. You proved that you were vaccinated, you're automatically entered into a lottery to win up to $1 million. Not even that. The lowest end was a $250 gift card that we're you got to pick between Cabela's, Walmart, and there was a third store, but I can't remember what it was. But it was a $250 Visa gift card. That was the end, and they were giving away hundreds and hundreds of those, and then up to $1 million in cash. They had almost nobody sign up to get vaccinated. They're like, well, we have, I think it was like 12,000 people who signed up to get vaccinated. I'm like, I'll get vaccinated again. Give me 2 more. I'll do it again. Give me that lottery. I want a $250, Cabela's card, because I can spend $250 in Cabela's like that. If you have never been to a Cabela's, you'll never understand. Do you think it's a conspiracy, Will? I don't know. Do I think COVID's a conspiracy? No. I've seen enough personal horror stories from it, and I've had it. And my mother-in-law, my wife, my daughter, they all work in the medical field, along with my sister. So, yeah, I mean, and hearing their horror stories of watching people die from COVID, and that alone, would make you want to get it. But I had to get it. Who should get a rabies vaccine? Well, anybody who deals with wildlife, or animals that that can carry the rabies species. I think there's only like 3 or 4 cold-blooded animals that can carry it. That don't quote me on that. But we had to, because where we worked in an area where there were rats, and rats are a carrier for rabies. So you had to get it. I mean, it wasn't the best thing, but you got 3 days paid off time to lay in bed, watch television while you got the shots. So there's that. It's just not fun. We should give it to Pelosi. Some people think it's a purposeful thing to kill people. I don't know. We went to the original Bass Pro Shop in Springfield, Missouri. Huge river running down. And Flew Isles is awesome. I think I've been to Zelda. I've been to like one or two pro bath shops, but Cabela's, I I could spend $250 in Cabela's, not even thinking about it. Then all my friends, man, we can spend it in a quick hurry. Antivirus is deadly as well. Mice poop, yeah. You have more of a chance of side effects with medications than vaccines because medications build up in your system, whereas vaccines are often a one-time incident. I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV or on YouTube. So I'm going to have to agree with you, but I don't know the answer to that. It sounds right to me. The rabies, but back to just quickly before I end on the rabies, though, and I end this stream. But the rabies vaccines are not they're called the pre-booster rabies, because if you actually get bitten by an animal that has rabies, you have to get, I think, one or two more shots to actually survive it. But you have to build up the immunity to it. But you don't have to give them every year. I think it was every 3 years you get it. I don't remember what the protocol is anymore now, because it's been 15 years, somewhere in there, since I had to get them. But I wouldn't want to do it again. It's not fun. I don't know, duct tape bandit. If it's purposeful to help thin the herd. I mean, people kill each other off, at a pretty good rate, which is a good thing in some aspects because, well, I have this YouTube channel, and if people stopped killing each other and hurting each other, what would I talk about all day? So there's that. But I don't know if it's purposeful to thin the herd. I mean, could it be man-made? Sure, it could. But there are a lot of other things out there that can definitely thin the herd that they have done to stop before it actually gets into the massive population. Ebola, for one. Some of the different things that have jumped from animal species into humans that have wiped out entire villages, in the Andes, and in the jungles, of South America. I mean, completely decimated populations. They're all gone. There is no survivors. But when those viruses move from animals to human beings and we catch it, the way this world works, we are here, in America, wherever you are today, you could be halfway around or all the way around the world tomorrow. And that's how things spread so quickly. But I don't know if it was man-made to thin the herd. I know a lot of people are dumb as shit, and they won't take even the smallest precaution to save themselves. Get the vaccine if you want. Don't get the vaccine, but just do everybody else that that you've ever cared about a favor and take a little bit of precaution. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Use hand sanitizer on anything you touch. I mean, just take care of yourself. So, It is. Right? No. I think at the same time, duct tape bandit, I think the internet has a lot to play with into that. Just how uneducated people are. Because pick any subject out there. Not just COVID, but pick any subject. Politics. How about the right way, the wrong way to raise your children? You know, pick any subject at all. You can log onto the internet and you can find 10,000 people screaming at you that their way is the right way. And then you add in the people that's just the professionals. 10,000 people screaming their way is the right way to do everything. Lose weight, how to raise your children, how to drive a car, how to buy a house, everything out there. You got 10,000 professionals screaming at you, if not more. All right. Then you add in the people who make themselves look like the news, who are spinning everything to move an agenda along that they've already predetermined is the outcome. And you get a couple million of those screaming at you. The noise just drowns everything out, so people just don't want to find the truth anymore. So the internet, in a lot of ways, that should have made us all a hell of a lot smarter, has made us all a lot dumber. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end the stream there. I appreciate everyone stopping by this morning. Again, true crime trivia tomorrow night. For those who had been asking if we could do a crime trivia that was music related, you should tune in tomorrow night, because a good mixture of the questions on tomorrow night's trivia are music related. Now, music related from either the United States or the Great Britain and France. But these are not obscure questions like people you've never heard of before. Questions like Jeannie C. Riley is on there. The Harper Valley PTA. There's a question about that. A question about Donovan. The British Bob Dylan is on there. But they're questions that it's about a 50-50 mix of questions that are music related and then in crime related. And some of them are music and crime related. So I hope that's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. I hope everybody can tune in for that tomorrow night. Again, 30 questions displayed on the screen along with the 4 possible answers. And it's right here on YouTube on 411 Now. If you happen to like the stream, give a thumb up. If you didn't, click that thumbs down button twice, and leave a comment, a question, whatever you need. Appreciate everybody for being here, and thank you again for joining me.